What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Awakening World. I'm Love Coach Scott Thomas. I'm honored to be your host. And tonight's going to be a night of deep conversation, some prayer, some beautiful music, and really an opportunity to hear from you. We want to hear what some of you are feeling, obviously recognizing that yesterday was a big day, and certainly a seismic shift in reality. Some people might be jubilant, some people might be devastated, some people might be scared, some people might be confused. All emotions are welcome tonight. What is not welcome is political chatter. We've had plenty of that over the last 9 months, and the election is over. So we don't want to hear so much about what's wrong with other people, but we do want to hear about your feelings and what's alive for you. We have some really special guests with us tonight. Gary Malkin is with us tonight. I put the camera on him, but his camera's off right now. But Gary's going to be with us, sharing his wisdom, some of his music. And Maggie LaCosta is with us. And Maggie, of course, is one of our new generation leaders for an awakening world. And she's brought a friend of hers who's an amazing young man, Ben Gio. And so I'm really grateful to have Ben with us. And there's Gary. Here's our good friend Gary Malkin, who we're going to be hearing from tonight. And we're going to want to hear from all of you. But as always, we're going to start the show in the most wonderful way with our beloved house musical artist, Omashar.
Namaste and welcome everybody. And before we continue, let's just take a deep breath together. Let's make that 2 more. And I'm going to sing a song called This Heart of Mine. And let's go there, shall we?
Hope springs eternal in this heart of mine, learning surrender, learning to fly, and knowing you're with me, my invisible friend, loving me onwards. calling me out of myself. Here I go again, trusting in life. All of the tears I've cried, clearing the way. All that's been said and done is turning to dust. And now that I'm here again, I will sing praises to the maker of my life. I will sing praises to the maker of my life. One heart, one breath, one love, one life. Knowing you love me, that we're divine. My heart is open, my heart is thine. I give my life to you, your hands in this world, open and flowing, calling me out of myself. Here I go again, trusting in life. All of the tears I've cried, clearing the way. All that's been said and done is turning to dust. And now that I'm here again, I will sing praises to the maker of my life. I will sing praises to the maker of my life. Clearing the way, 'cause all that's been said and done is turning to dust. Now that I'm here again, I will sing praises to the maker of my life. Praises to the maker of my life. Together, hallelujah.
I always forget when I'm muted. I'm going to go to gallery view, everybody, and let's give a big twinkle to our beloved Omashar.
That was us all singing.
together. Yeah.
Give yourselves a twinkle, everybody.
There we
Absolutely.
go.
And I do want to remind people that we can support Omashar by going to omashar.bandcamp.com. That's where his albums live. And it's always wonderful to listen to his music here on The Awakening World, but you can also listen to it whenever you want at home by getting his albums, and do it by going to Bandcamp, please. And again, thank you, Omashar, for a very, very beautiful, perfect opening song to kind of set the tone for tonight. I'm going to turn it over to my good friend Gary Malkin in just one moment. And I'm really glad that Gary agreed to be here tonight. This is the start of 3 shows in a row that we're going to be doing, all about, you could call it election recovery. We're also going to be featuring this on Saturday night again. And then on Monday, we've got a very big event, and I'll talk about those events a little bit later. But we do want to hear how you're feeling. We'll start by, putting in the chat box, and then a little bit later on in the show, we're going to open it up to some of you actually coming on camera and sharing your thoughts. When there's a big event like this that happens, I think people like ourselves, it does open our hearts. For those that are upset, uncomfortable with the decision that was made, it can still, as Rumi taught us, break our hearts wide open. And Gary Malkin has one of the biggest hearts of anybody I know. He's really, honestly, he's a big heart with legs walking around. Gary Malkin. And so, Gary, thank you so much for being with us on this very special night. And I'm going to turn things over to you, my friend.
Thank you. My God, Scott, I'm so a big heart with legs. Hello, everybody in the awakening world and on the Facebook sine wave around the world. Let's just all just take a breath for a moment. Feel the ground under our feet. Let's kind of imagine that we're all around a fire together, the sense of the crickets are going, it's kind of dusk, and there's this sound of the crackling fire. And you notice how there isn't a lot to say when you're around a fire? And our senses start to heighten, and our listening grows, and our ability to kind of reclaim all of who we are, not just the parts that are stimulating our eyes and our mind. This morning when I woke up, I had such a sense of dread because I'm building a workshop that you'll hear about coming up this Sunday called it's called You Awake, Mastering the Art of Flow. And one of the core tenets of this workshop is about cultivating resilience, is that life happens for you, not to you. But these moments are the moments where it's easier said than done. No matter what, whether you are celebrating for who became president or you're mourning who became president, when life doesn't turn out the way we wish, it's sometimes hard to accept that there's a greater force in all of this. So I want to share, I'm just going to share things that arise, musical pieces that have been created, videos. I don't have my musical set up yet. And Scott, one of the things I wanted to share with you is I'm going to drive to Kristen's now that I'm on the East Coast. I'm going to ask her for advice on a setup, and I'm going to kind of try to create my own music making platform at long last. So I can reclaim my performing musician again after years of not being able to do it because of not having my home set up for almost 2 years now. But so I'm excited, and I'm going to get Kristen's blessing and teaching on that, which is very exciting. But this morning I thought, how am I going to be on tonight if I can't embody what I'm saying, right, Scott? This is for you, not to you, right? So there I am, and I shared this text with my beloved friend Piper. And in the same way that anyone that's friends with Piper Dellums understands, you get these transmissions from her that are so priceless. And I'm going to take an excerpt of it before I play you something that I think will align our energies. So what she said in part of her text to me was, nothing can rule our souls or dismantle our spirit of unity and oneness. Love always wins. Harriet Tubman walked us to freedom without the system on her side. MLK marched up the mountaintop without the system on his side. Mandela survived the fires of hatred. The indigenous are still here. Women will never lose their voices. Anne Frank wrote her soul from the place of hiding where love hid her, and she still touches the hearts of millions without the system on her side. And still we rise. Love will always beat the drums of the hearts of humanity. Many of us fought hard. Many of us hoped. We gathered. Many of us fought for what we believed. This is the democratic way. The people voted and they were victorious. So no one's storming the Capitol now. No one's waving guns in outrage as has been done, and no one will do that. Instead, we will bear witness and follow the song of love. Love can never be defeated. Stay in hope. So this was about 7 a.m, or no, I don't know when it was, but it was this morning I was waking up, and it was so beautiful. And I just thank you, Piper, as always, for your brilliance and your wisdom. And I spent the day really practicing the art of living by love happens for you, not to you. So as a way to begin my little segment here, I'm going to share more later on, and thank you again, Scott. I wanted us to just all drop into this piece of music called The Courage to Dream that I wrote 25 years ago. And it's a film composer's tribute to the dream that is America. What's so beautiful about the dream that is America is that everybody holds it in a different way. But the common thread we have is we all do hold a dream that represents acceptance and freedom and tolerance and equality and justice for all. So I'm going to share this. I've set images to it, and I'm going to share this PowerPoint. And what I really rather you do, do what feels right. You can look at the images. The images were more just a way of eye candy and putting you in states of awe, because awe is the state that connects us to the unitive field, to the unitive consciousness. And we're in awe. God, count how many times you can get in awe each day, and you'll be a much, much more filled person, right? More fulfilled. So here it is. It's called The Courage to Dream. It's from my music of the Great Smoky Mountains. But I encourage you, whether you look at the images for awe, or you just hold space around that fire together. Let's all take a deep breath right now and imagine we're around the Zoom fire, and we're listening to something that will help us all, no matter what the outcome of yesterday, align ourselves to the intention for the dream that is America. Okay. There we go. Enjoy.
It's so beautiful. That is so beautiful. And I think the images you chose were perfect. I do want to read just a couple of quick comments.
Yeah.
Dia Therese wrote, I'll go back up to it. It was very, very beautiful. Oh, where to go? There's so many comments coming in now. Dia writes, Gary, this is so moving. I'm loving the horns playing with the piano and all the notes. George writes, I feel so very inspired hearing this and also hearing Piper's Love blazing on. Scotty Satori says, bravo, bravo, Gary. Wow. Andrew Kane writes, beautiful, touching, and they just keep coming in from Grace Denise, Connie, and Andrew, all appreciating the beauty of that. Thank you.
Yeah. And, this album that I did, I literally believe that so when I was 18, I was guided to go on a camping trip for 10 days, 10 miles a day on the Appalachian Trail. And I was a student at Oberlin Conservatory. And then 25 years later, I was invited by a record company to do an album for my favorite national park. That was naturally, of course, Music of the Great Smokies. And then 25 years later, I'm visiting, and Vineet, Allen, and Raj are trying to get me to move to Asheville. It's about 5 years ago. And I said, can we visit the Smokies? Because I hadn't been there. And we put the score on as we're driving into the national park and left the doors on at full volume. And we stepped out on the promontory. And I looked at my beloved Smokies, and I had this wild thought that what if my future self told me to go camping at 18? So I create an album in tribute to this national park 25 years later. So I'll hear it 25 years later saying, this is where I belong. And I had this sense of all time collapsing. And there is something about that land that has so much in it, the power of the dream of America. And I don't know. So that's why I called it a film composer's tribute, right? But when I listen to that, it goes so far beyond party and preference and race and divisions. There is something that inspired that why I called it the courage to dream. Yeah. So what am I done with my segment, or should we go on?
No, it's 6:30, so we're going to go to the next, but I'll be back to you in about 20 minutes. This was just the appetizer from Gary. Gary has an entire main course coming right up.
I'm so privileged to be here, Scott, and love you so much. And thank you, community, for letting me share a time of such sensitivity and fragility for all of us. Love you all.
We'll be back with Gary in a little bit. I had a career for 15 years producing and writing educational programs, primarily for teenagers. First, we did them as stage plays in high schools, and then graduated to doing them on television. And that's what I won my Emmy Awards for. And as that chapter in my life was coming to a close, I had one contract left to fulfill, to write a show for teenagers. And it was someone I'd worked with for a long time. They trusted me, and it was a television show. I was like, wow. And I knew this was going to be the last one. So it's like, God, I had written and produced over 100 shows over 15 years during that time. So it's like, wow, what do I want to share? What do I want to say? And the thesis statement of that show that I chose, that to me was the most important message to convey, was 10% of life is what happens. 90% of life is how we deal with it, how we work with it. And I thought of that today. We're going to meet now two really wonderful young people. One of the things, I'm an elder now, I'm 68. And I'm really grateful for the next generation of wisdom keepers, luminaries. And so I'm really excited to have with us two next generation. You've met Maggie Rose LaCosta before. She's been on the show many, many times. But Maggie has also invited a friend of hers, Ben Gio, who's coming to us from Guatemala. And he's doing beautiful work. Maggie's in Ashland. She's, of course, an incredible healer, as well as an amazing entrepreneur, videographer. And she is going to conclude tonight with a KES group healing. And Ben is in Guatemala, where he's, I'll let him share more, but he's attending a workshop, and he's there supporting something very important. He's a facilitator of expression, empowerment, transformation, and he's devoted to the practice of attuning to what wants to come through. Well, perfect for tonight. What wants to come through? In recent years, he's involved himself as a representative of the Kanaka Maoli people, and he's working a lot with indigenous people to support them to get their rights restored. So with no further ado, welcome Ben and Maggie.
Thank you so much, Scott. So good to be here and see everyone. Yeah, I was excited about this show as we were, speaking for the earth was one of the themes for this show. And I wanted to bring in Ben Geo because it's just so inspiring what he is working on. And I would love for him to just share a little bit about it and just bring the inspiration and hope and beauty to what he's working on to share.
Thanks, Maggie. And I love that you said beauty too. Aloha, everyone. I am Ben Geo. I grew up on Oahu and actually live on the big island of Hawaii called Moku Okiawe, which not many people even know. The culture of Hawaii has a really complex history, and there's a lot of revolution happening there to give hope in times like the times that we live in now. So I'd love to share a bit more about like what that looks like for me and maybe just kind of dive deeper. There's something that has happened through being available for what wants to come through that has led me to listen to people with a deep amount of pain related to what is true for the indigenous people of the world. The reality is that I think world leaders are trying to make world peace with tyranny, and the people that I talk to are looking at the truth that has sustained cultures for generations and how that can be united for all Indigenous First Nation peoples. So I met this guy, my uncle, he's also my sensei, at a retreat this one time. And he led me down a path that showed me a deep pulse on the roots of what's happening for the whole Hawaiian chain and beyond that through all of Polynesia. There is a movement happening right now where about 300 chiefs across 30,000 island nations, including Australia, are being invited to come together and speak on the treaties that still have merit for the indigenous people of the land, where they have land ownership, not to control the land, but to feed the people. There's a great deal of love and of care to bridge the young and the old that's happening right now in this contemporary world that we live in. How I met Maggie is through a organization that is bringing sustainability concepts to the world, and a lot of what that includes is listening to the people who know how to work with the land, who grew up there, whose families grew up there, whose land the blood of those families belongs to. And I just want to bring some light on what hope really is in my world. We just had this election, and honestly, I don't even care. I know that things are falling apart, and what I'm focusing on is what is returning, what is arising, and what is being remembered through people who know where they are, who know where they've been, and because of that, cannot be told they do not belong. So in this society, I feel that we consume what we are part of. And what I've been working with chiefs and priests of what is called the House of Io within the Hawaiian community represents an original cosmology of the heavens and us and the heavens and each other. The way that sounds is Ioe Ao, Ioe Kwe, Ioe Tato. There are many names for Io across the world, and what is being brought forth through the indigenous people is that those that are above shall be brought down, those that are below shall be brought up. How we can speak for the we as a people, how we can balance our individual liberation journeys of freedom of expression and doing what is right for us with the liberation journeys of a community, of what is right for our community, and how we can share space together when there are generational traumas, when there are things we do not know that, like I run an ecstatic dance. I love the dance community where I live, and a lot of what I work with doesn't involve the Hawaiians because they don't feel welcome because it's so different than 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 the communities of those who immigrate there. And what I see here is a really beautiful opportunity. There are a lot of revolutionary ideas that are being brought forth for the world right now to, like our nervous systems are heightening, our curiosities are heightening. And what this to me represents is an opportunity to be more curious than we are afraid, to receive the pain of our elders, of our families, of our community, to transmute anger into passion, to know that as a white man, I feel that privilege is an opportunity to move closer, not further away. And with this privilege comes, I think, a responsibility to lean into the culture I represent and be open to what I do not know. And there are generations of knowledge and specifically wisdom that can be returned to in the world that we live in, which I believe is suffering from fragmentation, disconnection, disassociation, and depravity. We have created a world where we can meet our needs, where we think with our feelings, and have experimented in a way that we could be together with hierarchy. And what I'm proposing and sharing with the indigenous community that I am with my kumus and elders and mentors, is how we can use power to dismantle hierarchy and create equity. And that's a really nuanced thing to do in my experience. Maybe I'll pause there.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Given you were sharing when we were when we were kind of doing our pre-show meeting, a little bit about the real history about Hawaii, and we were talking about the analogy. Would you like to share a little bit about that, Ben?
Yes. So the history of Hawaii involves a lot of oppression. There have been churches that have come with agendas related to money and have told indigenous people that they cannot eat the way they eat or speak the way they speak. And those who remember when this started are still alive. There are many cultures across the world that still have tribes, even here in Guatemala, as I'm doing some work for people with physical disabilities, documentation for that community work here. There are still 20 different Mayan languages that are spoken here. But in Hawaii, there are no formal tribes because of the occupation on the land. And so in the 1800s, the last monarch was Liliuokalani, and she actually never surrendered. She just told people to stop fighting. And so with my elders and with my mentors, there is a movement happening that is centered around reclaiming the ownership of the land from these treaties that united all of the people of the Pacific Island nations before Hawaii became Hawaii. The people that that could reach anywhere a canoe could reach were once one people. And this is the movement. It's connecting the people that that were once anywhere a canoe could reach in the Pacific Island. And so Queen Liliuokalani did not surrender, and there is an instantiation of the indigenous people here that are learning how legally and also publicly to let the world know who they are and not ask permission to be who they are and to be the stewards of the land that their generations came from.
Wow. It's there's some interesting comments coming through. Grace Denise writes, also there was militant fighting before I think she meant Kamehameha, Hamatamaya. Jerry Anderson is really appreciating you as a beautiful empath. So thank you for that, Jerry. And Susan writes, Ben, your words are far wiser and older than your evident age. So Eleanor Joy writes, yes, Ben, right on. Keep holding the vision. And I'd like to ask my guides and angels for loving guidance and grace. Absolutely. Ben, as a white person who is working with Indigenous people, is there anything you can share about that bridge that you're building?
Thank you for these questions. I can easily spew off all kinds of information, so I love the feedback and the invitations there. I think something that I noticed is that there are a lot of white people that are afraid of cultural appropriation. They point the finger at anything that feels like is disrespecting culture, and in order to, in their minds, protect it. But I actually think what's going on a lot of the time is guilt. It's guilt of not knowing what to do, of not knowing how to support what's happening, and of trying to protect something they don't even know how to get close to. I think that listening and moving closer to the roots of what is of where we came from involves a willingness to immerse yourself in the culture you are in. And for me, like, even though I grew up on Oahu, like my ancestry is from Scotland, and everything that I have done with the native people has been met with, at first when I meet them, very like fierce protective energy. And what I do, the first thing I do is I validate that protective energy, because in this life I feel the call to both protect and share. And there's an elder I met that acknowledges very deeply that in order to keep something like our culture, we need to give it away. If we do not give it away, it will die with the elders that are here to share it in a world that does not listen to their elders to receive the wisdom of communities and families. So if you're wanting to learn about a culture, you are worthy already. You belong as the earth. You are the body, you are the earth, you are the body of the earth. And if you are afraid of stepping through a door that you have not been invited in, ask.
It's beautiful. I'm bringing Maggie up, and this is just a little homeopathic dose. But last question for both of you. As younger people, watching what's going on in the world, what goes on for you? To what degree do you feel discouraged? To what degree do you feel hopeful? How is it for you at your age and your station in life, looking at climate change, looking at political situations, looking at the wars? What goes on for each of you?
Ben, you're welcome to go first, and I'll tag on after you.
I've been thinking about this a lot recently, and I think life, okay, so I'm going to just wing this and speak of what's been alive for me in my life. Life has peaks and valleys. We summit these mountains and on harrowing journeys, and we descend and fall into the valleys where the waters go. What I find is that when we cannot regulate ourselves, we become imbalanced with unprocessed energy. And because we cannot regulate ourselves, we project it out. And this creates a cascade of energy that can lead to war. I think there's an adage that I follow, is that I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. I think that war is a symptom of overwhelm. When people are looking to acknowledge something, and the only way they know how to do it because they are overwhelmed is to cast out the energy onto another. We live in a world that is separated and led by fear and greed. I think these are symptomatic of not being able to regulate with the earth. To upload is to put our feet on the earth, and to be the earth is to eat the food of the earth, to be more interested in giving back to it than taking it for granted. Regulating with ourselves and each other and the earth, I feel, is a very key component to inspire and transmute and help to process the energy that has been stuck and builds up until it explodes. And one of the biggest things I want to say here that I feel can make a big difference is the word no. I think many are afraid of their anger because when we see it, it is because it has been suppressed to the point of either leaking out through projection or exploding through violence. Anger exists within our body for a reason. It exists to point forward like an arrow of truth, the demonstration of our boundaries, of our no, which is how we say yes to ourselves. Many people do not know how to say yes to ourselves. And when we can speak no proactively, and not when it's too late, we can heal cross-gender trauma, we can heal cross-cultural trauma, and we could be in what we speak for in our no, which is ourselves and together, rather than what we're speaking against, which often is something that's not even worth our time, something that's already so imbalanced and lost, something that is just so fragmented, like a two-party system. So when we speak for what is right for our hearts, for each other, when we know who has our back and we know who we have the backs of in this world, we are very quickly entering exponentially into displacement. We can honor what we are saying yes to. We can trust the vitality of our anger, just as we would trust the vitality of our grief. Grief is alive. Depression happens when we do not feel our grief. Grief is our vitality. The level that we grieve represents our capacity to love. So when we grieve, when we grieve, 7 people together is 100 times the power of 1, and that gives me hope.
Wow.
So beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yes, to words to the hearts of everyone here. And I completely agree with that as well. And I would say what really gives me hope in this day and age, with everything going on, is my connection to spirit, God, and the earth. And just really, whenever I feel unhopeful, I go out into nature and commune with the elements. And that's why Hawaii has such a special place in my heart, because the elements are just so alive in Hawaii. And I keep my hope by working on passion projects as well. And so I met Ben Gio through a passion project I'm working on with Marley Benedicto, and it's through her organization called Gaia Temple. And it's all about getting a glimpse into the future. And so eco villages are a huge movement that gives my soul just great happiness and such hope to see these new ways of living sustainably with the earth, growing your own food, regenerating the soil, and having multi-generational families on properties. And just, I feel in America, especially, we are so in our boxes sometimes, our homes, and we are just on Zoom calls so much, which is amazing. And there's that little part of me that's like, we need to get back to the earth, and we need to get back on communities. And how awesome would it be if there was a Peace Tribe community that you could go stay at for a month or so? And so, yeah, really just I could go on, and I will stop there, and I will leave the link to a passion project I'm working on that and Benjio and Marley that gives us hope.
Oh, beautiful. Both of you, Ben and Maggie, you give hope to our audience. I'm going to read just a couple comments. Sylvia writes, thank you, Ben. Yes, saying no can be saying yes to myself. And this is a mantra that came to me maybe 20 years ago. I appreciate hearing this wisdom again through you, Ben, and also the wisdom of coming together in grief. Danya writes, Indigenous peoples all over the world through colonialism have had lands and cultures misappropriated. So few have not been touched or devastated by this. It's a long journey. Peoples all over the world are also finding their true natural place. Hard won, but it's happening. I live on Indigenous lands in Northern Ontario, Canada. George Noble writes, grief is a form of praise. I recall one Mayan village chief telling us that Martin is his first name, an author who spoke in Sebastopol several years ago. Just two more comments I'll read. Andrew Kane writes, everything you are saying resonates to what I've been dealing with. Thank you very much, Ben. And Omashar writes, powerful wisdom, Ben. So, and a reminder that Ben and Maggie and Marley, who you've met on the show before, are going to be doing an 8-week retreat on the Big Island of Hawaii in February and March. The last week in March is going to be dedicated to elders, and I'm planning on flying out for that final week. So if any of you are interested, we'll a little bit later on in the show we'll go to that link and we'll go through it and let people know what's happening. And Ben, if there's any way that people want to know how they can reach you, so please put that into the chat box how people can reach you. Okay. Oh, here we go.
Yes. I've linked the work to what I see. If you want to see the energy that merges within people's hearts, I do through my photography. In addition, there's a creation of a documentary where the creation of the documentary is funding the actual revolution of reclaiming Indigenous land. There's also GoFundMe links and Patreons if you're interested in supporting at the roots. Mahalo for listening. Thank you.
Those of you watching on Facebook, I'm going to one of those websites so you can see it. It's BenGeo, G-E-O, photo.com, BenGeoPhoto.com. And wow, look at how beautiful some of those photos are. Look at this, huh? Oh, what a beautiful thing. Wow. Well, thank you. You have both provided hope and inspiration on a night that, well, that's what tonight's show is certainly dedicated to. God bless you both. And Maggie will be back with us a little bit later on at the end for a beautiful KES group healing experience. I'm going to bring Gary up, and I'm also going to bring up our good friend John Raymer.
You beat me to it. That was what I was going to do. Great minds.
Yeah, absolutely. There's John, and let me bring Gary back up.
That was my next step, was bringing John in.
Well, I want to briefly introduce John. He has been on the show before, but all of you watching on Facebook and YouTube right now, it's because of John Raymer. He created, along with his wife Summer, the Sign Network, SINE, and every week our Wednesday and Saturday shows go out to sometimes as many as 200 Facebook groups and pages through the Sign Network. And he is the master rower of the magic canoe. Welcome.
Well, I love what you guys were just saying. Oh my God, Ben. And the reference to the canoe in terms of the distance we could travel. And there is a Hawaiian elder and indigenous woman in this room, Lonnie, that if you guys don't know, you should call out, who, Gary, you introduced us to, and we spent years in Hawaii with her. So just to acknowledge this incredible moment.
I grabbed her literally in seconds. She said, when are you doing this? I said, now. And she just came right on. And Lonnie is a kahuna of her own kind. And I'm so happy you guys became friends. It's so beautiful.
We've been friends. And I want to acknowledge, Scott, a couple of things. First off, giving back to the next generation. That is so essential. And thank you for making that possible here. That gives us a chance to fulfill an obligation we have, especially at this incredible moment. I mean, I feel, and I was just in Hiroshima, as you know, Summer and I were there.
Right.
This is similar. This is like creative destruction at an enormous level.
Right.
This is that moment that I think we all sensed it was only a matter of time. And it happens to look like this, but we know it's not working this way. We just spent billions of dollars in doing what? It's like people become brands. Politicians are brands, and we're customers, and we're being sold to. The whole thing is so unjust, and so morally corrupt. We all know that. Without taking sides, without assigning blame, it is wetiko. And Ben, I honor you, brother. I've had the great service of being in service of many indigenous people. There's wisdom. We have the knowledge. It's not like we don't have access to everything we need. We just don't have the wisdom to really know how to connect. And that's the essence of democracy, is the knowledge of how to combine. We need to invent democracy again. Real democracy this time.
Aho,
Don't
brother.
blame me.
Aho.
Having Lonnie on, and I've never met Lonnie.
Oh,
Why,
you never
Alex?
met Lonnie. Lonnie, meet my beloved friend, Scott Katamas. Scott, Lonnie is the most beautiful blessing and carries her traditions, wisdom with her in such a beautiful and powerful way. Lonnie, so nice to have you here. Why don't you just share a few things, a few reflections on this moment in time in America's and the world's journey right now.
Well, I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. Scott, I've admired your work for a long time, and certainly Gary, and John, how much admiration I have for your kuleana, right? Your responsibility and your honor to share with the world. And Gary, what came to me is you were sharing your beautiful show on art. You showed so many images of what we call the makali'i, or the Pleiades. And in so many cultures, including Hawaii, this is a significant portal. It's a birthplace. It's a place where not only the stars, as we as stars beings are born into the world, incarnated, it's also where we leave. And I was so struck you had at least 4 images. And I think that we are in a time of death and rebirth. I believe that we are in a time of immense transformation if we allow this to come to us gently, and to understand that this is a great pivotal moment in history. And the way my elders taught me, the way my kupuna taught me, is to be neutral, to not react, but to simply take in the wisdom and the learnings of this time. And as we saw your beautiful artwork, and I saw these images of the makali'i, of the Pleiades, the place of death and transformation and rebirth, I really believe this is the place we're in. But we are in that place of death, I believe. And death is actually, in many world cultures, including Hawaii, a place of pure potential, where death is not hell for us. It is the deep, fertile stillness and darkness, where we can commune with our Creator, where we can commune with our ancestors, and we see the messages that we need to awaken and to come back to ourselves and to arise again. And later in your images, Gary, I also saw what I thought to be a phoenix. So this is, I believe, a passage that we're in right now, but the very beginning of death, of a way of life as we knew it.
Yes, right.
Right? And so what does that mean? How do we, again, not react, but take in? Because there's great learning and great wisdom during this time.
Great. Lonnie, stay here right now. Scott, why don't you come up and bring in John, if you would, on the screen. And please bring in Connie and Andrew, if you would, as well. And I would like to do a little experiment. I'm not sure exactly who else is here, but that's, I think, enough. Connie, and if Connie is here, great. And actually Joyce Harris, she's a beloved of mine, and I want her to come on as well.
Okay,
I'm-
there she is.
Yeah, good. if you're willing. Okay, good. So what we're going to do is, yeah, for any of you have heard of Bohemian dialogue, but David Bohm and Krishnamurti created an extraordinary context in which what was wanting to be said from the whole that had no ego in it. It was just literally being us utilized for the greatness of the moment, for the whole, for the benefit of this moment. And so what I'd like, I'm going to put some music on, and I would like us to be with it, what inspired my yes to Scott's invitation for tonight was this moment, like a lightning rod, when John Raymer last Wednesday night said, I refuse to allow the electoral process of America victimize me and hold me fugitive. Something like that. And John, you have no idea, but when you said that, a lightning bolt went into me. And it really helped me take rise to the next piton of my evolutionary development around life happens for me, not to me. So what I'd like to do is just, I'm going to put some music on, and I'd like the stillness as we blend and face the stillness of the music. We are asked to be utilized to speak that which wants to come through us. I'm not going to control it, right? But I want, this is a prayer, right? This is a prayer. And it's a prayer that will allow us to just be a blessing for everyone on the call, God willing. And let me go ahead and start the music and let the music establish itself. And this is like another form of a transformance in a way. This is, yeah, let's just play it. And here we go. Where is it? Oh, I have to share the screen. Hold on. That thing. Here we go. All right, so everybody, let's all take a deep breath, feet on the ground. Let ourselves be instruments of that which wants to come through. Let us be told by our higher selves and by the music in this moment what wants to be heard.
Can't hear the music, Gary.
Invite everyone to take deep, deep breaths in this whole community, wherever you are right now. Activate your heart, soul, body, and mind. And so it begins. I am here. I am weak. We is one. We are here. All shall be well.
Welcome to the time of beginnings. Don't be afraid. The wisdom inside of you is enough. Allow yourself to open and expand for the occasion. There are plans for this.
It is the grand plan of our ancestors that we are here together, joining our light during this time of transformation.
An opening for something new to appear.
I
It
really
is
like seeing the divinity in all. And especially committing ourselves to seeing in the divinity in those that are different, those that we used to judge. See the divinity in all.
I am floating in the blackest of space with Mama Gaia, with the spirit of the planet we call Earth. She has my back. I have her back. We are fine. We are spirits in a material world. We do not have to be concerned about temporary, temporal events. It is all love.
Is Michael Mead. The old soul that dwells at the core of each person has a tolerance for chaos and an instinct for survival. Not in the simple biological terms of survival of the fittest, but a complex involvement with hidden aspects of creation. We can only come to know our soul when the chips are down. There's nothing else to do but take on a bigger imagination of the cosmos and of our place within it. The return of cosmic order and cosmic sense always happens at the edge of an abyss, on the brink of disaster, where life, beauty, and meaning are snatched once again from the teeth of chaos.
we as human beings are intrinsically hardwired to know light, to rise, to be resilient with each other, our ancestors, our Creator. And in these times of chaos, we know that new life always born through chaos. For chaos can birth renaissance.
Reach out in ways that deepen connection. Bridge understanding. Honor the wisdom of interdependence. Challenging us to carry the world forward thoughtfully, passionately, responsibly.
I'm reminded of the courage of the caterpillar when they realize that they are at the time all up on that little twig. become the chrysalis that deconstructs who they always thought they were. Submitting to that messy, difficult process with nothing more than the promise of the butterfly. We are so there, my friends. We are so there.
So in this moment, let this next musical section clean all parts of our being that no longer serve us in this moment of metabolizing what is. And the beauty of this simple triadic melody music, it's a cleaning process. Let it clean us for just a few minutes in pure listening around the fire. Thank you, Mother, Father, God, and ancestors and spirits of all lands for supporting us in finding the light in the shadow and the beauty in all things. And for naming the things that are not supportive of life with courage. Courage, and honesty, truth. Thank you, beloved friends. None of this was planned, but it was always destined. And I want to encourage you, all of you who are listening in the audience, that all of us can take a musical piece that slows us down. I happen to have hundreds of pieces like that on my website. Not many of them are out there because there's a lot of noise that keeps things moving fast in the world, right? So the idea of slowing things down and just be with your loved one, your family, your gathering, and invite a Bohemian dialogue or prayer with that which wants to happen. Everyone and anyone can create sacred space just with the pure intention and the love and the connection with one another to want to create magic together. Everyone has the capacity to create sacred space like that. It was so beautiful. Lonnie, John, Scott, Joyce, your debut on my community. Joyce Harris, we'll have to have you on to talk about your breath launch soon with Scott. I'll make sure I connect that.
No,
But
Gary,
I know,
Gary,
yeah.
you're a genius. I love you for this. Now, the thing is this, what he keeps doing is creating what I call collaborative media. You're willing to push the boundaries. These are no longer just Zoom meetings, right? You've known that, and that attuning to each other. You know, I just love you for this. Thanks for, just holding that fire, saying we need to keep going in this place. These are the kind of spaces, and for you, Scott, to host it, it's just beautiful, brothers.
No, thank you. I want to open it up to anyone that's in the Zoom room who feels called to share briefly. My only request, share something inspirational or what you're feeling. Please, no judgments of others, but keeping it to what we're feeling or what we're inspired by, similar to what you just experienced with us.
And aware of time so that don't go on too long.
Yeah, try and keep it to 60 seconds or less. And if you raise your hand, go to the little thing like I just did, click the raise your hand, then I'll know.
Scott, before you do, I just want to make sure everyone knows where Scott can be found and the work where John can be found. John's work. John, you're my mentor, you're my hero, you're my guy, man. When I talked to Mark Gerson, by the way, I don't know if you know who Mark Gerson is. Mark is a friend, and when we were talking and I was telling him that I want to create unitive experiences in cities around the world that address the divisive paradigm, which we're going to do in Calgary in April, by the way. I have to tell you about that. He said, well, what do you do? Who are you? And I said, out of the blue, I said, I'm a curator of unitive experiences. And he said, stop. He said, stop. That's what you should say, right? So you are the one that inspires me most around collaboration with people. So thank you.
It's our growing edge. All of us, we know it. This is the future, learning how to combine. So thank you, brother. Thanks for saying that. And unite humanity, restore Mother Earth. One world. That's what we're all doing here. It's clear. We may call it different things. It's lightning in many bottles.
Put it on the chat. And Scott, sorry for intervening, but now let's go ahead. Whoever wants to share.
So it's oneworld.earth. We're all part of it. And we'll go back. We'll take a look at it in a few minutes. I want to hear from some of our audience members, and then we will go back and talk about how people can connect to that. Sylvia, you are up first. Welcome.
Thank you, everyone. A special thanks to Lonnie. It's a privilege to experience you. And what came through was womb cradling tenderness.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. And again, a reminder, if anybody wants to share, please, like Sylvia did, raise your hand, and then I know who to call upon. Piper Dellums has been watching. She wasn't quite feeling up, I guess, to coming into the Zoom room, but she's been watching and thanking us, Gary. She listened to what you said. She appreciated your acknowledgement, or your reading her words. And she wrote right now for me to share, I'm holding space for so much and so many, and listening to God as this new chapter unfolds. Things are being revealed to my spirit, and my purpose is becoming more clear and precise. So I'm staying in the silence, but I love you so much, and I am here with you. I love you all, and yes, we will be okay.
Beautiful.
I'm going to go to our good friend, the wild monk of the Mystic Monastery, Sherry Anderson. You're up.
Well, just in contrast to all the feelings as here, I'm very excited what is going to be happening. I've been working in the health industry for 40 years, and we've been suppressed by the FDA and all the different organizations in Washington. So I'm excited as to the new future that we might be able to bring health devices and those kinds of things to America. For instance, in Russia, they have 5 times as many devices as we have here available in the United States for healing.
Beautiful. We had a little trouble getting the spotlight to work on you, but thank you, Jerry. And maybe put in the chat box how people can get more information about that. And Jerry, of course, is the monk, the head of the Mystic Monastery, 10,000-acre sanctuary in San Juan, Puerto Rico. We always enjoy having you with us, Jerry. Thank you so much for being with us. I also, for people watching on Facebook, you can join us. It's very, very easy. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com. You can learn all about us and click register for the new season. And it's very simple. It's very fast to register. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. And you'll immediately get the Zoom room link. And you can come in right now. You can come in tonight and share with us. So please do join us if you can. Because the Zoom room is where it's happening. This is where there's a lot of dynamic conversation taking place, where the links go. So it's a good thing. All right, I'm going to go to Shoshana Bourne next. Shoshana, you're up. What a beautiful lotus. Thank you. Wow.
I know, I love the rose and all flowers. I'm kind of still out in meditation space, but Gary, I met you in Ashland and you can hold such a gorgeous container. And I wrote something in the chat, and since I'm not feeling particularly articulate, I'll just read it. That was a beautiful tapestry of the presence of a living prayer. The music carried golden rays of hope like sunlight on the sea foam, bringing healing and ease and tides of peace as if being rebirthed by the cosmic mother. I saw us in a waking dream of pure emerald realm of healing and light, and saw the vast expanse of the wings of Archangel Raphael wrapped around us. That was so beautiful, with a palpable presence of the spirit. It was so transformational. Thank you, Gary. Your music is a treasure woven with the hearts and prayers that have been shared. Thank you. And then I said, great to hear your share, Lonnie. And then I was just recalling when I was in Kauai. I have people coming into my house, so I'm probably going to have to mute myself. I experienced Kauai as this portal where souls enter into birth. When you were talking about seeing the slides of the Pleiades, I went back to that experience I had that I hadn't thought of. It was so profound. So I was wondering if there's anything in the Hawaiian cosmology or anybody has leaned into anything like that before. That's all.
Who says you're not eloquent? That's beautiful. And Shoshana, thank you for that gorgeous acknowledgement. And did you feel the palpable nature of everyone was on the edge of the unknown together? And that's how we're meant to play together, is letting go of the scripts and stepping into the. That's why that's why Scott and I wanted to call this the path to now, right?
Yes. Because it's literally drawing us into the portal of the song of our shared song of all of our souls in resonance with the song of the earth. So we can just emerge and expand into that beautiful waking dream together or something.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Beautiful.
You know, somebody mentioned the phoenix rising, and I use this as my backdrop pretty frequently. It's an incredible photo. This was taken. It was the lighting of the 8th fire when Chief Phil Lane, along with about 30 indigenous elders from all over North and South America, came together. It was very prophetic, and they lit the 8th fire, and this photograph was taken. And when I look at it, and I, like many people, you can see the phoenix rising from the fire. And so I do believe that there's a phoenix rising from the fire. I do believe that we are in the caterpillar stage of dying before becoming the butterfly.
You know, but Scott, by the way, I meant to say, Joyce, the fact that you use that, and of course, the name of that piece of music is called The Chrysalis, as you know. So the fact that you brought that in, it is in the DNA of that piece of music. So thank you for knowing that, and reflecting that, dear. And yeah.
We're going to go to Danja next. Danja, you're up.
Oh, well, it's Danya. And it's been a while since I've been back with you folks and a member. I just came from a meeting to do with people coming to terms with this election in the US, straight into you folks as a surprise. And so I'm just so glad that I landed upon you and was reminded of you again, and that you're still at it collectively, and how wonderful that is. And I hope to see you again soon. And in my life, there's been a lot going on with other folks, all to do with sound and music, like spontaneous, from people who never thought they could make any sound, let alone music, but discovering the depth within them and the range that is there for them that they didn't know existed. And besides that, were terrified of. So it's another part of the whole opening. And people aren't doing this to make records. People aren't doing this for attention or spotlights, but as part of their exploring their being. And now we're realizing more in general the power of sound, as well as the whole body instrument. And anyways, just glad to hook up with you folks again. You've had a special place in my heart, and we'll see if I can come back and enjoy and participate.
Great. Well, thank you. We would love that. Thank you. And it's good to have you back with us. For those who don't know, we started when the pandemic began. That was another big event going on in our world. And one of the things that got triggered was in April, the first weekend of April 2020, we started doing these shows. We're under the banner of the Global Peace Tribe. Gary, I'm going to bring you back up and would love for you to share with the audience about what you're doing. And then John, I'd love for you to share with people about One World next. But Gary, tell us about You Awake.
I'm so grateful you give me the opportunity to do that because I have been such a high about this. Those of you who might know Hope Fitzgerald, she's an author of The Infinity Wave, and recently she was featured on Pam Gregory's YouTube twice, actually, and suddenly thousands of people are knowing about Hope Fitzgerald, which I'm delighted about. And I have the great honor of co-creating the official Graceful Passages workshop with her. And over the course of that Graceful Passages workshop, we developed, it's a very powerful 4-module process for grief literacy, which is the literacy that helps us awaken our purpose and really dust off anything in the way of shining the light of who you came here to be, right? So as we dove into resilience and flow, we thought it'd be very similar to grief literacy. It turned out to be very different. And we started to realize that the point of resilience is so that we can actually align with the beautiful, simple, gorgeous, undramatic, amazing art of being, simply being. The whole point of it is presence. And how can we stay in regulation no matter what happens? And after having gone through being under the eye of the hurricane, heading to create my home in Asheville, I have a lot to learn, a lot to share about what we learned and during this process. And so we set up this workshop that's coming up this Saturday, and it's called You Awake. What's going on here? You Awake, Mastering the Art of Change. I'm going to show you the website. Here we go. Where are you? Sorry for the mess.
I've got it right here, Gary. I can do it.
Oh, good. You're way better than me. Go. Sorry.
Okay. Oh, no problem.
I have it right here. But
there we go.
There we go. Building Resilience with You Awake, Mastering the Art of Flow. And it's this Saturday from 9 to 3 Pacific Standard Time. And it's all about honoring the power of authenticity. It's these 4 steps that we go through over the course of 6 hours. But I promise you, it is such a beautiful experience utilizing my music and Hope's guided meditation and channeling capacity. And we have these 4 modules that are all about the dare to see, the art of true seeing, the dare to not know, the art of true curiosity. Then chapter 3 is the art of trust, the art of true surrender. And then module 4 is the art of true being, the art of presence, right? So it's really a beautiful thing. I know I just welcome you to join our community. We're very excited about it, and we'd love you to join us. The link is in the chat, and thank you so much for giving me a chance to share about it.
Absolutely. I'm going to go back to it again. Here are the 4 modules, and the link is u-awake.com/u-awake-november-224. But you'll just find it if you go to u-awake.com. That's what
yeah. You just go to the events page and you'll see the November event up on the top bar. So
and again, let's go review the dates are
this Saturday, November 9th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And I hope you can join us.
Is that 9 a.m. East Coast or Pacific?
Pacific.
Okay, great.
12 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Gary. And John, I want to bring you up and have you tell people about the amazing community that you are helping to build. There you are. And you need to unmute.
I am here. Yeah. Well, like so many of these things, we're really doing this together. And if not now, when? And if not us, who, right? So there's a few things I want to share. Let me see if I can share my screen. So there is this deep social network. And by the way, I send love from Brother Phil. He's going through amazing transformation. And the sacred covenant, Unite Humanity, Restore Mother Earth, is really at the heart of this place we call One World. And I want to tell you a little bit about something that's happening here. So this is what's called a Mighty Network. And by the way, on Saturday, Patricia Ann Davis, as I was inspired when Ben and Melanie were talking about the work with the indigenous people. She is such a wise teacher. And this, what she's been offering, this Child of All Nations, a wellness restoration ceremony that's happening. And that's here in One World. That's how you can find out these things through the events. But look at this. We've got this unusual situation I just want to bring to our attention. And when Gary, when you said before that statement I made, let me stop sharing for a second about how I wasn't going to let the election be the source of me become a victim to it. I said to myself, you know, whatever happens is supposed to happen. If you operate that way, there's something divine in all of this. And so we beforehand are part of Compassion Games, the survival of the kindest. And for the last 7 years have honored Dr. Martin Luther King. And that is the MLK Day of Service, happens the third Monday in January. Now say with me on this, third Monday. Last year, that was January 15th, which was his birthday. Well, this year, it's not that day. It's the day of the inauguration, January 20th, okay? And for me, when we talk about what are we gonna do, one of the things we could do is, you know, connect with our neighbors, serve. Let's make America greater than it's ever been. And believe it or not, this is happening just this way I'm showing you. So January 15th is Dr. King's birthday, and Pato Bantan, we're doing this event that we've done for all these years to honor that. He's got this amazing now repertoire of tunes honoring Dr. King. Well, we'll be in New York for this press conference because of the Ali Center from Louisville, our arch enemy from Seattle, Louisville Compassion Games history. They're unveiling this Compassion Index. And that next day, the 17th, is Ali's birthday and kicks off the weekend of service, and then MLK Day of Service on January 20th, the same day. And we had already planned that we're going to then kick off these 40 days of peace and greatness, a special edition of the Compassion Games for just this time, and ends March 1st with the beloved community convergence. But this day, I think it could be the greatest celebration of American democracy. And I don't know what's going to happen between now and then, but this could be our doing. And it is our doing to engage like we've never played. You know, Dr. King said, everybody can be great because anybody could serve. Ali said, service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. So we've got this all sorted, and this is all in One World. You guys could go here and check this out. Look at how this might make a difference in your community. Get engaged here. People are coming into One World, and what happens is, here's the Compassion Games thing, is that you can declare your purpose statement. We have a guide to help you do that. So simple, because I believe I am called to in a way that, so that. That's the purpose statement. Then if you have a mission, and I believe you do, or you wouldn't be here, you can come in and declare your mission inside of One World. And we're building really this capacity to lift each other up. We're learning the new patterns. They call it collaborative media and co-creation circles. Embedding indigenous wisdom. We're so blessed to have access to these amazing teachers. This is ours to invent, and I'm honored for the chance to serve this way. And I mean it. And listen, I know a lot of people are really scared and hurting right now. Imagine you're in America and you're undocumented. What the hell do you believe? I mean, I really want to say that I'm available. I've never been as available as we are right now. We need to forge a new way. It's not through the nation states. It's clearly obsolete. We need another model for how we create democracy on this planet, how we unite humanity.
Gary, John, can you walk people through how they can join, how they can actually join One World?
Yeah, of course. Of course. Thank you, Scott. You know, and Phil and I started this years ago when we saw His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And this being this whole idea of compassion at the heart of it. So if you go to oneworld.earth, this is what's called a mighty network. And it's free to you. There's no algorithm imposing itself on you. It's intended to really be a deep social network. And we wrote about that in 2009, Phil and I did, what we mean by that. And the dream here is to really create a synergized network. What does that mean? It means embracing the need for change and turning what we have into what we need. I am a fan of Marshall Gans. This is the guy who says that leadership is enabling others to achieve purpose. He's the guy, a Harvard professor who had a student named Barack Obama. He's done so much good organizing. Marshall Gans, people, power, and change. So much of my inspiration has come from there. So this is One World. You join here, you get a profile in One World. What's amazing about that is now we can really start to know each other and find each other and connect with each other. Here's Charles Betterton, one of my heroes. If you click on somebody here and you go, it writes for you what you and Charles might have in common. This is a good use of AI. And remember, AI doesn't care. You do. We do. So this network is amazing. And these guys are on it. The platform is powerful. It's going to get more and more. Here's Harry and Brand Earth. And not only do they have profiles that you can connect with these folks and chat with them and get things going, but they're doing projects up here that are really meaningful. This whole bioregions, all this work here on bioregionalism and Earth Bank. Harry's the guy saying, hey, what about the money? How are we going to deal with getting the money we need? We need $700 trillion for climate change. Well, he's got a vision. Brand Earth. Be respectful, accessing nature's diversity. And how we weave that into our world. I mean, there's just so much good stuff up here, Scott. Your stuff's up here.
And
Gary,
John, it's important to remember for people like me that get overwhelmed by stuff like that, when
Right.
you frame it as a hell of a lot more powerful ecosystem than Facebook, because you're not hammered with ads constantly. It is the Facebook convergence without the ads, but with high resonance and engagement with the things that your purpose is aligned to.
Thank you, Gary. And you know what? We're blessed because we have good relationships. I'm on with Irvin Laszlo in a few hours with his summit. He's going to be on One World, embracing this upshift conversations. Change, I learned this from Lonnie. Change happens at the speed of trust. Change happens at the speed of trust. We're in a new space with each other. New patterns can emerge of really taking care of each other. You guys have been very generous in letting this word out, but that's the vision of One World. And in fact, one last thing, I did this today as my own little act of defiance. I incorporated Compassionate Earth Alliance. Now
Beautiful.
501c3 to embrace all of this. And it's anchored in One World.
Wow.
Beautiful.
It's related to my Global Wisdom Foundation. So they're sisters.
It's for all of us. It's time, you know. And they say that these canoes, the magic canoe, it's a vessel for traveling between worlds.
Beautiful.
And it's that time when it's like this, when really change can happen. This kind of
Gary just mentioned what he's doing, and I want to just direct people to Gary's other kind of longer term big website, wisdomoftheworld.com. And oh my, look at all the people Gary has collaborated with in his life. Thich Nhat Hanh, Ram Dass, Marianne, Deepak, Desmond Tutu, Michael Beckwith, Lynn Twist, and it goes on and on and on. And there's all sorts of beautiful music, videos. And so I encourage you all to dive deep into the wisdomoftheworld.com, Gary's primary website.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
You're generous.
Hey guys, I want to thank both of you very much. We still actually have an Omashar song and a KES group healing, and I want to read some of the comments that have come in from our audience. But what a beautiful night. John, thank you for bringing your canoe through the awakening world. And Gary, you really are a big heart with legs. It really is. You truly are, my friend. I love you so much. And
Love you, man. Thank you, Scott. That image makes me laugh.
it's perfect for you, really. Um, I'm not going to read the comments going back and forth about kind of the political situation. I'll leave that in the Zoom room. But the KES healing is going to start in about 7 minutes. I'm going to read a couple comments. Omashar is going to play a song, and then we'll get the KES healing happening. I do want to acknowledge Karen S. And all that she did, canvassing, talking to people. And even though those of you who worked maybe very, very much for a particular outcome, even though that outcome didn't happen, that energy still went out into the world. Just imagine it being like water, and it's watering the garden, and flowers don't always grow as fast as we want them to. There were a couple comments here that I saw I wanted to reference that were really quite beautiful. Yeah, and so Gary's announcement, Dia Therese, you definitely want to do that. Susan writes that Pam Gregory is one of her favorite astrologers, and she listened to her talk with Hope Fitzgerald. So thank you for that, Susan S. George points out again that Pluto went back into Capricorn for a while, and now it's going back into Aquarius, and that's a good thing, according to all of our astrologer friends. And Reverend Jeffrey, this is what I wanted to read. There is one spirit incarnated in everyone, an immortal presence forever expanding everything, causing everything to grow. What a difference it would make in our human relations if we tried to sense the meaning of this divine incarnation in all people and adjust our viewpoint to the truth that all are bound together in the unity of one God source.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That was the comment that I was looking for, that I wanted to get to. So we'll close with that as far as the comments, and we're going to go to our beloved brother Omashar for a song.
Lost in a sea of illusion, feeling so alone. Lost on a wave of confusion, where do you turn? Flow with the tide of completion. Know the reason why. Drink in the waters of healing and be healed. We're coming home to the part of us that's waking up, and we know deep inside of us we've got a friend. and we feel love, and we feel love. Dive into the depths of your being. Know that all is well. Dive into the deepest ocean. And see the truth. Cast off the cover of darkness. Free yourself from fear. And show that you're ready and willing to make the change. We're coming home to the part of us that's waking up. And we know deep inside of us we've got a friend. We remember the design of our lives. We remember the desire in our hearts. And we feel love. And we feel
Wow. Let's go to gallery view, everybody. What a perfect, beautiful, beautiful song, Omashar. Absolutely perfect. Thank you. Thank you, brother.
What a perfect show.
Yeah. It's interesting to note, I pointed this out to Omashar. We had our largest audience tonight, Gary, Omashar, everybody. Largest audience we've had on a Wednesday night in a very long time. And that just says to me how many people after, the shock and the intensity of the election just wanted to be connecting to community, wanted to be with family, wanted to just be held, I think. So, Gary, thank you. That big heart on legs for all that you provided tonight. And I am really grateful that Maggie is with us. Where is this? She is. And Maggie's going to lead a KES group healing. But before she does that, Maggie, please tell people a little bit about the retreat. And I'm going to pull up the website while you do that.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much, Scott. It has been such a beautiful night full of surprises, and I'm happy to just briefly share a little bit about the gathering we are hosting in Hawaii, and then we'll go into a group meditation and mini session. And so we can start with maybe I can screen share, Scott. I will make this brief because I know that it's getting late, and I found Lonnie. I'm gonna reach out to you. I'm really excited to see that Lonnie was on the call, and I'm also inspired by her talking about the importance of neutrality. And so I was thinking we'll do a little meditation on neutrality after this. And so tonight I wanted to share Aloha Aina. And this is a gathering that is inspired to reconnect with the land and get a glimpse into the future. And so how do we envision the future as a more sustainable, living closer to the earth, living more in community, and just really going back to our roots? And so this is an 8-week deep dive, and it's a living laboratory. And anyone is welcome to come from anywhere from 1 to 8 weeks. And there is a lot of amazing luminaries who will be joining us. And so I'll just briefly go over this, and I'll put the link in the chat box. And so we have Elena, who is a beautiful elder based in Ashland, Oregon, and she pioneered orgasmic birth. And so we're starting with birth. And this isn't just for people who are going to be mothers. She's all about healing birth trauma and helping doulas and helping bring awareness to bringing children into the earth with the lowest amount of trauma. And so we have beautiful interviews with actually all of these teachers. And so week 2 is all about harmonize. So it's a lot of chanting and toning and just beautiful internal work. And then week 3, we have a beautiful luminary named Ian Michael, and he has created Holos and has been involved in a lot of regenerative community projects along with Eslin and a few others. And so he will be sharing his insights about what it really takes to build a sustainable community or an eco retreat center, or how to live. He's based in Costa Rica, and so he's really into making right relationship with the locals, as there's so many digital nomads nowadays. How do we work and be sustainable traveling to all these different countries? And instead of taking from the land, how can we give to the land? And really just creating that beautiful intention to help the earth wherever we go. And then week 4, we have Region Intel, which is an incredible organization working on climate solutions. And we are going to experiment with doing some fun projects about what would it look like to have Hawaii grow 30% of its food. And just little projects like that, because week 7, we have Lucian, who will be with the Up Games, and that's a time travel into the future. But it's also partnered with Blue Planet, and Blue Planet helped bring 30% of renewable energy to the Hawaiian Islands, and they're looking to expand throughout Indonesia, which is incredible. And so we are gathering specific people and gathering, change makers, artists, and just people from all rays of life to come together with intention to better the earth, to better ourselves, and to just bring together visionary generators for peace and impact. And so that is a little bit about the gathering, and we have all these beautiful details on the website. And we also have, making sure that it's a balance of your work life, because we know that people have to work. And so people can come, and there will be a co-lab or co-working lab, and then there will be lunch and dinner provided. And then, every Friday we're gonna do a sacred site and go to some part of the island, and it's all about exploring specifically Big Island, Hawaii. And we've pinpointed amazing projects that we've been eyeing that are just really beautiful regenerative projects. And so we'll be visiting those projects. And there's just so much more I could share, but I'm going to stop there and just put the link in the bio. So thank you so much for listening. And with that, how is everyone feeling? You're welcome to put in the chat or give me a little thumbs up. And we can go into our group meditation and KES healing. I'll give just a little bit about KES. It's a modality that is all about working with the quantum field and connecting with that aspect of yourself that is already healed. And so we can do that also with the earth, and it's powerful to do in a group field. And so when I do individual sessions, we usually work on specific things, specifically triggers. That comes from the teaching that your triggers are your treasures. And so anytime we have a trigger, it's asking us to go within and to really look at that to see, okay, is this an inner child? Is this a past life aspect? What's really trying to come up for greater healing and holing? And so we actually consider this a holing process. I was thinking today, since it's getting late, we're just going to do a tiny bit. It'll probably be about 15-20 minutes, and we'll drop in, we'll set up a healing container, and then we'll ask to receive what is for our highest and best, go into that neutral, still point. And then I was thinking we could just really send some love to the earth. And since there's so many people calling in from different grid lines around the world, let's just do some grid work tonight together. And, there are people who don't have this community or don't have a community and don't have that support. And we're just so blessed to have that support from one another and all the different nodes that are holding throughout this macrocosm. And so you're welcome to stay on camera, or you can turn off your camera and lay down. You're welcome to get in a comfortable meditation position. And we'll just start with closing our eyes and taking a deep breath in through the nose. An open mouth exhale, releasing the day. Coming into that still point. And just take 2 more deep breaths with an open mouth exhale. Finding your vertical power column of light. Sending your grounding cord into the earth. Giving thanks for Mother Earth for holding us, for bringing us together, for the support that we have. And send your love and gratitude down to the earth. As every time we send our love to the earth, it comes back multiplied. And we'll send that love up to the sky, up to the sun, into the great central sun, and see that connection with the sun come back down the atmosphere through your crown, and really just finding that still point, that 12 o'clock, where you can even visualize a clock in your mind's eye, your third eye, and see the hands pointed at 12, bringing us to our vertical alignment anchored in the present moment. And let's do a brain balancing where you can feel the right side of your brain and the left side of your brain, and just feel them as one. See if you can bring your awareness from your eyes down to the back of your neck and even to the back of your heart space, to be anchored in the heart. And taking a few breaths in this stillness. And if thoughts come up, just allow them to pass by. No longer identified with them. And as we find our center and our stillness, we'll call forth the Holy Mother, Holy Father, Mother Earth, and all our guardians and guides of the highest light to be present in this space, opening up the space to receive any messages, any healings and holings that would be of the most benefit for the self and for the group container. And as we open the heart space and feel this collective, unified heart, the heartbeat of the mother, the heartbeat of the one, just take a few breaths in this space. Allowing the heart to blossom open like a white rose. And as the heart blossoms open, we send this love to the earth, and we send it to the neighborhood we are in, the physical location and community. And you can almost see these golden ripples of light going out, giving hope, giving peace, and energetically offsetting energies that are no longer serving. And now, send that light and love you've cultivated to a few people that you may know that might need that. And you can even just see golden light going towards a person, place, neighborhood. Sending this out to the world. And then we place our palms up and ask to receive grace. And open your palms to receive the grace of the heavens, of the heart. Giving gratitude for your breath, for this life, and for this light that's inside. We seal this meditation with grace, love, and gratitude. It is done, and so it is. And when you're ready, just gently open your eyes. And if you need to stay in the meditation, please do so. And thank you all for joining this group meditation. It's truly such beautiful grid work that can just get sent out to the world to feel what has been cultivated in this lovely Zoom call this evening.
Thank you so much, Maggie, and thank you, beloved Omashar, for that beautiful music.
Yeah, that was perfect. It was just blossoming open the field. So thank you.
I want to very, very briefly, we're almost done here, but I want to let people know what's coming up because it's quite special. On Saturday night, we're going to continue this process of election recovery, healing through unity. Marianne Williamson will be with us. Ray Amana is going to be playing music. Of course, Omashar will be with us. Tatiana Speed is going to be with us. Larissa Stowe. I mean, the music alone on Saturday night is going to be amazing. And then special guest John Kenyon. He and Katrina Valancourt have a program called Across the Aisle, where they bring together Republicans, Democrats, and independents to all listen to each other. And then for a little bit of fun, Swami Beyondananda will be with us, Steve Behrman. So it's a really all-star show on Saturday night. So definitely make sure you join us for that. And then many of you know that I've been putting together a very big event next Monday, which is November 11th. That's Veterans Day. It's a holiday. And I've been collaborating with Deborah Giusti, Adrienne Valera, Michelle Anderson, and Anastora Maka to do a big unifying program. We're calling it Unity Now. Again, Marianne Williamson will be with us, and amazing people like Elizabeth April live. Elizabeth, Marianne, Daryl Anka will all be with us live. Beautiful music with Louisa Stowe, Ruby Chase, Rissa Vibes, Jay Brave, Alpha Reddy, and Mose. So it's going to be a very powerful, powerful program this Monday, 4 p.m. It'll probably go about 4 hours. It's going to be quite an epic show. It's free, but you do need to register. It's free to register. Just go to disclosurefest.org. Disclosurefest.org. We already have close to 1,000 people registered for it, so it's going to be quite a big program. And I'm one of 5 hosts. It's that big a show that we've got 5 hosts and all those people. So it's going to be very, very special. Please do join us. Again, thank you, Maggie, for being with us and for the inspiration and the beautiful. I'm seeing a lot of comments that have come in from the audience appreciating you. May we all continue to practice seeing the divinity in all, noticing when we're judging others. Take a breath and recognize that we're not judging the being. We have a problem with the choice they've made or a behavior they have. And that's okay. That's part of human experience. But let's not judge the being. Let's practice seeing the divinity in all beings. I'm very grateful for each and every one of you, and I look forward to continuing this journey of discovery and healing and community this Saturday night. Take care, everybody. Have a good few days, and we'll see you soon. I'm going to go to gallery view one last time. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.